Hello, everyone. Hope you're able to stay dry and warm on this rainy day. My name is Ole Kagan, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator with LA County Library, and I welcome you to Microsoft Word for Beginners. Before we get going with today's event, I'm going to take care of some housekeeping, do the land acknowledgement, and tell you what we have coming up for our next Microsoft Office workshops. So, if you can hear me and see the slide on the screen, then you're good to go. However, if you're having trouble hearing me or seeing the slide on the screen, do let me know in the chat and I will do my best to assist. If you'd like to listen to this presentation on the phone, you can do that by calling 1-669-900-6833 and use the access code 895-1662-1095 and the passcode 123123. Additionally, automated closed captioning is available on Zoom in case you'd like to read along with the presentation. To enable that, you would press the CC button in your Zoom window. Now, you may have been noticed that the mics and video is disabled for attendees. That's so that everyone can focus on our presenter for the day. We do, however, welcome your questions and comments. Questions can go into the Q&A box and comments can go in the chat. I'd also like to note that this class is being recorded and you will receive a copy of the YouTube link in a follow-up email. Another note about our Microsoft Office workshops: these classes are designed for you to focus on the presentation while it's happening and not try to work along, as some folks have tried to do and found it rather difficult, because when you are observing a live presentation, you can't ask a person to stop and go back and repeat. And sometimes, especially if you're a beginner, it's difficult to keep up with a reasonably speedy presentation. So the video will be shared with you and you will absolutely be able to follow along on when the video is on YouTube, and we welcome you to do that. All right, and now let's go ahead and move on to our land acknowledgement. The County of Los Angeles recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Quiche, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in land seizure, disease, subjugation, slavery, relocation, broken promises, genocide, and multi-generational trauma. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. We are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on these ancestral lands. We are dedicated to growing and sustaining relationships with Native peoples and local tribal governments, including, in no particular order, the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, the Gabrielino Tongva Indians of California Tribal Council, the Gabrielino Tongva San Gabriel Band of Mission Indians, the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians Quiche Nation, the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, and San Fernando Band of Mission Indians. To learn more about the First Peoples of Los Angeles County, please visit the Los Angeles City County Native American Indian Commission website at lanic.lacounty.gov. All right, and just before we begin, I would also like to share with you what we have coming up next for our Microsoft Office workshops. Today, we have Microsoft Word for Beginners, and in a couple of weeks, on Tuesday, October 28th at 11 o'clock, we have Microsoft Word for Intermediate users. So if you benefit from this class, or you're already somewhere in the middle of beginner or intermediate, or if you're an intermediate user and you feel like you could broaden your skills a little, we have Microsoft Word for Intermediate users Tuesday, October 28th at 11 a.m. I'm going to put the link to the registration for that in the chat. Feel free to sign up. And if you'd like to learn more about LA County Library programs, you can go to our website at lacountylibrary.org and click on the button on the right-hand side. If you just hover over that button, you'll get virtual programming dropdown. You click that for Zoom programs, all free, all ages. And if you're interested in in-person events at any of our 85 library locations, you can find that by clicking on that button, and it'll open up a calendar for you to see also our events for all ages on a variety of topics, and of course, all absolutely free. Okay, the time has come for Microsoft Word for Beginners, and to present our class today is Savannah Lish. Savannah is a MakeMo or Makermobile librarian for LA County Library, which means she drives a colorful van all over LA County doing STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math programs for anyone ages 5 through 99 and above. And this morning, she joins us here virtually to show you Microsoft Word for Beginners. Savannah, the stage is yours.
Hello. Welcome to Microsoft Word for Beginners, this virtual program. Again, we will be recording and uploading this onto YouTube. So for this class, we recommend you just watch and take notes. And when you are ready to follow along and try these 3 different little classes yourself, you can put on the YouTube video and pause and rewind as needed. Also on YouTube, you can change the speed. So if I'm going too slow or too fast for you, you can go into the settings and change how fast I'm going in the settings. Also, please be sure to jot down any questions that arise, as we would appreciate if you keep those for the end of this program. There is at the bottom of Zoom a little Q&A box. It's essentially the chat, which you can click, and instead of if you write a question to the chat, it might get lost. If you write a question in the Q&A box, it will for sure be seen. So just keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. So let me share my screen. All right, looks like it's sharing. So here we have our Word document. It's already open. It's a blank Word document. This is a word processor. That just means that it is somewhere where you can type anything you want and create things. I think it's called a word processor because you use it to type words, of course. So to start with, this blinking line right here that I'm circling with my mouse is called the cursor. And as you saw, wherever I type, wherever the cursor is, when I type, that is where the letters will appear. And the blinking, and then this right here, if I have multiple letters, so the mouse over here looks like a mouse, if you can see it on the gray side of the screen. When I come over here, it turns into kind of almost an eye shape. Wherever I click it, that is where the cursor will go. Okay, so the area up here is called a ribbon. This is where we will see what we can do with the word processor. So all these different tabs are to just organize and make it easier to decide what you're going to do. Today, we're primarily going to stick in the Home tab. And this tab is how you'll change the font size, make it bigger or smaller. You can bold the letters. You can change where the cursor is. I will show you that in just a second. And so this is definitely the home-based tab. That's why it's called the Home. If you go over to the right-hand side of the ribbon at the bottom, there, as you can see, it says Ribbon Display Options. There's a little caret or arrow pointing down. We're going to click it. So you can change whether or not you see the ribbon all the time if you click Show Tabs Only, or if you open up your word processor, it might automatically be set to this. That just means that the ribbon is still here, but it's just hidden. Some people like a little cleaner look. But if you click on the tab, it will show which area of the ribbon you clicked. I like to have this open all the time. I just think it's a little easier, a little more streamlined to work with. Okay, so um, under the Home tab, these are called your Align buttons. And this shows where the cursor will start out or where the cursor's home base will be on the Word document. So I'm going to go ahead and click Align Right. You can also click and hold Control on your keyboard and click the R key at the same time. To be honest, I think that it's a little easier just to click the button up there. There are times when the keyboard shortcuts are much easier though. So under the home, so I clicked Align Right. Now I'm going to write out my address and my name. Since I'm writing a letter, I want not the address, the day that we are writing it to be. So it's the 14th today, so I'm just going to write that in. And now what I need to do is I need to come over here and change my spacing because as you'll see, there's a pretty big gap there. So, I'll write my name. And this gap is fine, but I want to be more in control. This is not quite a single space. It's not quite a double space. It's somewhere in between. So what I did was I clicked the left button on my mouse and I'm holding it down while I pull the cursor up and over to highlight. So now I'm coming over to this right here, the lines with the two arrows. As you can see, it's line and paragraph spacing. And I'm just going to click remove space after paragraph. And that way, if I want it to be double space 1.5, 1.15, or 1, it will still be that, but it just won't add that extra little bit after the paragraph. I think it just makes it look a little cleaner, and I like being in control of how much space is in between. There we go. And then we're also going to put our address. You don't have to put all of this on the letter if you do not want to, but especially this is going to be a business correspondence. And I think for business, it's really important to do that. And for personal, it might be nice. Someone may have misplaced your address, or maybe you forgot to give them your new address. So it's just always nice to cover your bases. So I clicked the Enter key. How I got the cursor over here, I clicked the Enter key, and then I went back to this Align, and I clicked the Align Left button, and now we're flush to the side. So I'm just going to write to company, because I'm pretending like I'm writing an important business letter. Now, for beginning a letter, you always want a double space. Now, you can either write the letter with the cursor flush to the side of the margin, or you can tab it. As technology becomes more prevalent, tabbing is becoming more obsolete. So I'll show you how to do it flush to the margin, but first I'll show you how to tab it. So first we're going to click the tab button, which is in the kind of upper left side of your keyboard, excuse me. And so then I'm just going to pretend like I'm typing my letter long enough to get to the second line. Okay. And now we're going to click and tab again. To make it flush, I'm just going to, again, click the left side of the mouse, highlight, and then I'm just going to type flush from here. So, thank you for your prompt response. Unfortunate. The floors that were, sorry, down by your company Okay, so I want to show you something really useful. There are grammar and spell check lines. So this red right here is a spell check line. It usually the spell check is usually pretty correct. With names and things, you always want to double check that you wrote it right, because the spell check doesn't know every single word, especially if it's not of English origin. With that being said, if it's something like you know, a misplaced A where there should be an E, you can usually click on the word, and here we are, settle. It's exactly what we wanted to write. For grammar, there will be a blue squiggly line. I'll see if I can get it somewhere. I wanted it to be right here. I believe we need a comma right there, so I'll add that there. Sometimes the grammar check isn't quite as strong as the spell check. So if you write something and you know you're grammatically correct, I would just trust yourself. But it is always nice to have a little double check in there, so you can make sure that you're writing the correct thing. So I'm just clicking the enter key on the keyboard. It's kind of on the middle right side of your keyboard. I'm going to click that twice, and that's how I'm going to get a new paragraph. So we will accept your offer to have the standard and finished. And here, let's see if we can get the grammar check this time. Expect that it Okay, let's see. Here we go. So here's the grammar check. So it's blue. So if we click on it, and here we go, it wants us to have a comma in there. That, according to me, is correct. So I went ahead and accepted that. Sometimes if you have to word something strangely, it will be incorrect. So just, again, stick to your guns, trust yourself. But for the most part, it's nice to, again, double check. Okay, so we click the align left, align spacing. Sorry, let me just see where we're at. And I clicked the enter key twice between the paragraphs to give that double space. And that just helps make it more obvious. Okay, we're starting a new paragraph. It makes it look a little cleaner, a little bit easier to read. So now I'm going to write my sign off. Again, I'm going to give myself a double space. And since this is a business letter, I'm going to go ahead and write sincerely because, you know, I'm not really giving them my best regards. I'm a little bit obsessed with that. I'm a little bit upset with them. So now if I were going to print this out and sign it physically, what I would do is I would click the enter key about 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to give myself one more. So I'd actually do it 5 times so that I can get my signature in there. Now, if I were sending this digitally, I wouldn't sign it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete 4 of those. Actually, there we go. And so that way it looks a little bit more flush and a little bit tighter. But if you have the 5 spaces in there, that way you can sign your name and have the space for your signature, and it'll look nice and professional. So this is done. Obviously, you can have a much longer letter if you would like. But I'm going to show you how to save and print this just really fast. So to save it, I'm going to click Save As. And for the name, I probably would put the date and what it's about. So 10/14/25 underscore floor letter. And then if I wanted them to have it easy for their documents, I would put my first and last name as the front so that their business can easily sort it. Now, what we can do is we can decide where we want to save it to. Do we want to save it to documents? Do we want to save it to desktop? If you save it to desktop, you can find a folder. So just this is what it'll look like. If you save it to apps, that's where it'll be. And so you need to know where you're saving it to so that you can figure out, so that when you need to reach it again, you know where it is. If you think you saved to desktop but you saved to documents, it can be very confusing and annoying. And then in order to print, you just click the print button. And then you just make sure, okay, do I want it, double-sided, one-sided, black and white? And then you just click print. So that's how you write a letter. And now we will move on to writing a resume. All right, so I'm going to click File, New. So for the resume, We are going to do a blank document. You can also search for templates. Let me show you what that looks like. The reason why we're not going to be using these templates is because they're quite loud. Out of all of these, I would probably recommend something like this or this. Oh, that's the same one. But these are a little bit distracting and loud. When you're writing a resume, you really want it to be streamlined and easy to read. People who are looking at resumes are looking at many resumes at the same time, and so you just want them to be able to glance at it and see the pertinent information. So I just opened up a blank document. This ruler right here is very useful. So if you go to layout, or if you go to design, oh, that's not the right ruler. It's in my notes. I'll show you when I get to the notes how to get the ruler on there. But so to write a resume, so here we go. It's in the view tab. So if I click this right here, if I uncheck this box, the ruler disappears. So this tab is all about the view of the Word document. So if I check the ruler box, that ruler comes back. This is really useful for resumes because you want things to be equal. And so with the ruler, you can kind of easily see, okay, this word starts at 5. Do all the words in this line start at 5? And things of that nature. So we are going to go to the Insert tab now and click Header. And I'm going to do the 3 columns. And for the header, I'm going to make it 14 just so it's easy to read, but I would probably actually make it 10 in real life. Just because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing on my screen easily. Okay, so in the middle of the leftmost bracket, I'm going to click with the left button of my mouse, and I'm going to write my email. So email.com. For your email, if it does automatically capitalize the first letter, that's okay. Emails it won't affect the email if they type it in with a capital letter right there. It'll be fine. I will click the middle of the center bracket and I'll just put my name. And then at the rightmost bracket, I will type my phone number. And then to get out of the header, okay, yeah, you double click in the document outside of the header. For some reason, it wasn't letting me, but that's fine. And then to get back into that header, you can double click in wherever this kind of above this invisible line will get you back into the header. There we go. It seems like on my computer, it likes it a little more if the cursor is more to the center of the document. So that might work for you as well. So to write the rest of my resume, I'm going to try my best to create a template for myself that I can copy. So I'm going to click, and then I'm going to keep it flush to the side, and I'm going to write in my educational. Actually, I'm going to go back up, I'm going to go to the center, and I would make this a bigger font, so 16. On my resume, I'd probably do 12 for this and then 10 for the rest of the text. But this will be 16, and that will be education. You can bold it if you want. I'm not going to. And then I'm going to, so I clicked the center align button to get this in the center. And now I'm going to click that left align again. So I'm going to university, and then I'm going to just click the space bar, or actually the tab button. So I'm keeping count of how many tab button, or how many times I hit the tab button. So let's say I went to that 2024 to 2025. I clicked the tab button 8 times, and I like this especially because it's in line with the phone number, and that just looks a little nice to the eye. Now I hit enter, so I'm back flush to the left side. I'm going to hit tab once. I'm going to click the italicize button. I could also click and hold control and then click I quickly on my keyboard, and that would also make me italicized. And let's just say I got a Masters of Fun. Okay. And then I'm going to, again, click and hold control and click that I button. And then, again, you could click it physically with your mouse as well, right under the, in the little font area. And then I'm going to click enter. I'm back again flush. So now I'm going to say what my college was, which is College of College. And then I'm going to hit that tab button 8 times again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to go ahead and type in. And it looks like this is, again, flush. Okay. So that looks great. So again, I'm going to click enter, tab, control, and hold control while I click I, and now I'm going to let them go, and I'm italicized. And let's say we got a Bachelor of Smart. Okay, and then I'm going to click and hold control while I tap I, and now I'm unitalicized. So now what I can do is so again, I'm going to click my mouse, the left side, and I'm going to hold it and highlight all of this. And then I'm going to click control and just touch the C button really fast. Or on the highlighted area, I'm going to right click my mouse. And I just tapped it once. And now I can click copy right here. And now I'm going to hit enter, enter. And I can either click and control V. If I want to undo that, I can click control and click Z. And I can always right click once and then click paste. I'm going to click this one, which is keep source formatting, because that's the whole point of this, is that it makes the formatting easier. You can click this, which is merge formatting, which just makes it a mixture of what is automatically there and what you're copying over. If I had a picture, I would click the picture copy, and then keep text only will not merge. So if you have the formatting you like already and you know that, you would do keep text only. But I'm going to go ahead and keep source formatting. And I am going to unitalicize this. So I just highlighted it like I told you before, and I clicked the I button. And I'm just going to do that again. This makes it a lot easier, but you really, really have to double check your work, because it is easier to miss things this way, but it does ultimately make your life much easier. So instead of education, I'm going to click type employment. Okay, so let me just double check where I am. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead and write in what am I? Okay, a horse barn manager. And then I might have to click one more tab. And that's just because horse barn manager is less long than University of University. And if it wasn't long enough, the tab worked perfectly. If the tab was too much, I would just click the space bar. Okay, so now we're going to highlight this, and we're just going to come up here. You can do any kind of bullet points you like. I like these bullet points. I think they're just simple. And again, we want to keep this easy to read and easy to just glance at. So some of the stuff we did. I always like to do at least 3. And you want to use active verbs for the job you're currently doing, active verbs in present tense. You want to use active verbs in your past jobs as well, but for past jobs, you want to use past tense. And you want to try to use different verbs as much as possible. There are situations where, if there might be certain tenets of your job where it's like, well, no matter what I'm doing, I'm going to be doing this. So it just might be worth it to think about it and think about what you can say that's unique to your job and what you can say that you need to have this experience in your employment. Okay, and then I'm going to put nurse. Okay, again, the tabs worked out where I didn't need to use the space bar. And then again, I'm going to highlight this and then use the same bullet points that I used in the other job. And let's say give patients. Oh, and I shouldn't put give, I should put gave because I'm no longer a nurse. Oops. And so I clicked down and it took away the bullet point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit delete and then enter. And then as you can see, I have a grammatical error that is true, life-saving. Now it also says that, oh, I used tack wrong, and it wants me to write track. That, in this case, is incorrect because horse tack is what it's the saddles and the reins and things. So I used the right word. The grammar system just doesn't know that I'm right. So I'm going to leave that. Communication. And I'm not going to put communication between hospital staff and families because I want it to be that I was communicating. So I think communicated is a little bit stronger in this instance. So I'm going to leave that as is. Okay, so now we have the employment section, and now we'll just hit enter twice again. Oh, and so when you hit enter twice, what it does, here, I'll show you again. So we go down 1 and it's like, oh, you want a bullet point. We don't anymore. So I'm going to hit enter again. And now we're flush to the left again. And now I'm just going to hit it 1 more time. So 3 times total. And that's how I'm back here. And then I'm just going to click right side and again paste. And now I'm going to click, or I'm going to write skills and qualifications. This is where you would put if you have a qualification that you need to have a certain date on. This is when you'd write, oh, you got it in 2025. Delete that. And then for skills, you might write, oh, so what I did is I highlighted that and I clicked tab because and actually I put these in different areas. So qualifications would be here if it's something that needs to have a date. And then I click enter twice again, and I would go up here, click the center button, write skills, click enter, and then I would keep this in the, and I would make sure that I made this size 16 font. And I would make sure that this is, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I would make sure that this is centered, and you can put anything that will help you get a job. So now you know how to use Microsoft Word. I'm going to write Microsoft Office because I'm assuming if you're here, you're going to go to the PowerPoint and Excel sheets courses as well. So Microsoft Office, if you know how to use a really unique object or like a forklift, if you work in a job where you need to use a forklift, that actually would probably be a qualification. But you put any skills that may be useful. When I applied to this job, I'm a mobile makerspace librarian. There's a STEM aspect. I know a lot of like sound engineering, and I used to work in like the film industry. So I put that on my resume because I was like, well, maybe they need that in this position. So that sort of thing is what you would put. Okay, so that is all the information that you need for a resume. And again, you'll save it the same way that you would save any other Word document. I would recommend putting first initial, last name, underscore year, or underscore resume, underscore year. That way it's easy to find for yourself, and you can also send it out like that to prospective employers unless they ask you to save it in a certain way. But this is our completed resume. It's easy to look at. It's easy to follow, and at a quick glance, people will be able to tell if you're a good fit for their job. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a meeting agenda. Again, I'm going to click File, and then I'm just going to click Blank Document. For the meeting agenda, I would want to do a bigger size font because you want it to be eye-catching so that the people you're meeting with have an easy time glancing at it and understanding what we're going to be doing. So we're going to type the meeting name. I'm just going to write Microsoft for Beginners. Okay, and then we're going to press Enter, and we're going to do the date and time. So 10, 14, 25, 11 a.m. And then we would put the address room or Zoom link. I'm just going to write Zoom link. And I'm going to put it in brackets so that we know, okay, that's, here, I'm actually going to write address, Zoom link, room. And this is in brackets because you would need to fill in with the pertinent information. Okay, so now we're going to click the Enter key twice, and we're going to make this a smaller font. I'm going to use 12, and we're going to click the bold key. You can either click bold on your keyboard, or you can click and hold Control and press the B button, and then let them both go on your keyboard. So we are going to write agenda, and then colon. And then we're going to click Control B again on our keyboard and hit Enter twice. And you know what I forgot to do? I'm going to highlight the whole thing, and I'm going to remove that space after paragraph because personally, it's not my favorite thing. You can leave it in there. It's not a big deal, but I just think this looks a little bit cleaner. And if I want a bigger space, I will give it to the document myself. So we're going to use the schedules in the meeting. So you can use anything. You can use bullet points, you can use numbers. I personally like this one. I think that it looks really nice. So for the agenda, we're going to do icebreaker. And then I'm going to click. So yes, I forgot that. So for the icebreaker, I'm not going to write the icebreaker right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is highlighted, and I'm going to hit Enter, and then I'm going to hit the tab button, and that's how I'm going to get the A. So that's how I'm going to get like the subset of the group. So Enter and then tab. And so to get to the icebreaker, let's say the icebreaker is, what is your favorite animal? So that way you can, if you have an icebreaker, especially if it's maybe a tougher question than what is your favorite animal, you can start thinking about it, or the employees, the meeting members can start thinking about it before they come. And so then let's do And so what I just did there was I hit enter twice. So when I hit enter once, that's when you saw the B. And then when I hit enter twice, it went, oh, okay, she must want a second point. And that's absolutely true. So the second point might be, what's something that's going to affect people in your company. So let's say there's construction. You're going to let people know that you have construction. We're going to hit enter, tab, and then it's going to affect building and parking. So now we're going to hit enter, tab again. Man. Enter tab again, and then we'll say, let's say parking will be in lot B exclusively, lot A closed. And then again, it knows that we want to be in this kind of third set of bullet points. And the building will have noise. Bring earplugs if sensitive. All right, so now we get to tell our employees about the construction. So we're going to hit enter. We don't want this one. We're going to hit enter again. We don't need a B. And we're going to hit enter again. Now it's number 3. So number 3, maybe it's a holiday coming up. Holiday. Request for overtime, and so on and so forth. So whatever your company needs, that's what you will write. And then to get out of this kind of bullet point section, we're going to hit enter, 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 and now we're out. So at the end of the meeting, we always want to write upcoming meetings in bold. So we want it to kind of look the same as the agenda. So again, I'm going to click and hold Control and then click the B button on my keyboard and let them both go. As you can see, it is now bold. And now I'm going to write upcoming meetings. And then we'll add that in. So I'm going to write in the meeting that we'll be having. So 10, and actually it'll be called Microsoft Intermediate Microsoft Word on the 28th of October. So I'll write that in there. And then it'll be at 11 a.m. And I'm just going to write Zoom meeting, even though I would need to put the link in there. I don't have the link currently. I did forget something important to show you though. So for, again, I hit that tab key twice and now I'm back in that bullet point zone. If you're having a presentation, this is a nice way to do it. So the name of the presentation will be here. So why we are the best company. Oh, and what just happened, why it was capital, is I accidentally hit caps lock. When you hit caps lock, everything's capitalized unless you hit the shift button and then it's uncapitalized. So I just accidentally hit the caps lock. And that's why I went ahead and just deleted it and then made it the way it is normally. So the name of the presentation is there. Then we have the description. So again, enter tab. So the description is, a collection of important data. And then we're going to hit enter tab again. And then that is presented by Oleg and Savannah. So that's just how you would do if there are presentations, where it's the name of the presentation, what it's about, and then the presenters. But other than that, we are done now. So this is how you make a meeting agenda. And you can use this for business, but you can also use this if you have a book club, if you're a part of like a charity organization. These are things that are really useful just to organize everyone's time. But that is all I have for today's meeting. Thank you so much for attending Microsoft Word for Beginners on October 28th. At 11 a.m., we'll be giving the virtual program Microsoft Word for intermediate users. And you guys are all now intermediate users, so I hope to see you there. And of course, we will be opening it up for, once again, we will be opening up for questions, and I'm happy to answer them for you.
I'm about to post the registration information for the October 28th class. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, yeah, click on that, sign up. We will be very happy to welcome you there. If you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. That's the one with the box with the little question mark on top of it, and we'll address your questions. I suppose at this point, if you want to put your question in the chat, that's fine as well. We're here for you, and once again, thank you, Savannah, for delivering this presentation. I know sometimes when people are at the very beginning of their Microsoft Word journey, it can be overwhelming.
Yes, and I just saw that you asked that there was a question if there's a recording for this. So there is one that is already up on YouTube, I believe, because we took this, or we made this class before, and then we will be putting this version of the class on YouTube as well, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I'll put that up probably tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think you guys will get a link before it's up there. Usually, I think that's what happens.
Yeah, you'll get a link. So I'll put it up probably tomorrow. I have to edit it and then get it up there. And then I'll send everybody who's here and anybody who registered for the class a link to YouTube. So you'll all get it, and you'll get the materials from this class, a handout with further resources and everything that Savannah taught you.
How to sign in and sign out of Word. So if you have the desktop version, I don't believe you need to sign in and sign out. On the web, you would use your Outlook email login or your login to get into Office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it depends on how under which terms you purchased Microsoft Word. It's been a while since I've used one on my personal computer, so I don't know. For us in the county, we have an Office 365 license, so we sign in with our credentials, with our regular sort of LA County credentials. So I'm getting a lot of questions in the Q&A here.
Okay. I saw a question about how to save a document. So can I just share my screen and show that real fast?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a very important question to answer.
Yeah, it's one of the most important
essential.
Things. Yes. So here, let me. So here, if I want to save this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this File tab right here. And once you click File, it looks completely different. That's okay. So if you just want to save this version and you've already saved it, you can just click the Save button. But since I haven't saved this before, I'm going to click Save As. And what this is that I can change the name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the date, so 10/14/25 _ meeting agenda. Personally, I always try to put the dates in my file names. You don't have to. The computer will know when you saved it, so it's not actually that important. Now, if you do just want to save it as meeting agenda, but you've saved 38 other meeting agendas, what you're going to do is you're going to click _ and then you're just going to write 39. And that way you'll know, the computer will know which meeting agenda it is. You cannot save the same name for a file, even if it's a different file. That just confuses the computer. So be sure to have it be at least a somewhat unique name. But then I'm going to just choose to save it to my desktop. I could put it in car stuff, or I'm going to click this PC, excuse me. So this is OneDrive. That's an online cloud-based system to save things. But if I want to save it in this PC, it could be documents, downloads, or desktop. Documents and downloads are useful places to keep these, but they aren't what you can see. The desktop is my favorite place to save things because you can see it. You can either save it directly on the desktop, which to do that, I would just click save right here, this button right here, or I can click into a certain folder. So I just double clicked that folder and now I'm in the folder called car stuff. You can see that because it says desktop and then there's an arrow and it says car stuff. And then I would just click the save button and that's how I would save it. Okay.
Okay. I think there's going to be some other stuff that you're going to want to demonstrate. Like, here's a question. How do you set up text in columns?
So yeah, I'll share that real fast. So what I do for that is here, I'm just hitting the enter key so I can get to a new blank page. So it's a little bit cleaner to look at. So I would click layout. I would click insert. And then for the columns, so what I did, so this is for the header. So I'm going to click that. And then the way I added into the columns was I just clicked in the middle where it says type here. I just clicked it in the middle once and then it highlights and then I'm able to add. So I just click in the middle once and it gets highlighted. And what this is I'm not doing anything special for this. The computer is, or the word processor is coded to allow us to do this, to make it nice and easy for us to just click once and then type whatever we need in the column.
Thanks, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please demonstrate how the dictate feature works?
Yes. Here, let's see. I'm going to go up to the search bar. I don't know where dictate is. Okay, so what I did is I went to the search bar and I just started to write dictate and then office dictation came in. So I'm just going to click that. And then it's listening. So I think I just click here. Oh, that's interesting that it went up there. So let's see if I can get it down into this. So it should, so wherever I have the cursor is where it will type. And it will, oh, I thought it took out the so it will keep in the filler words you use. So this would be a really great thing if you're giving a speech to see how much you're saying that sort of thing. But yes, so that's how you do the dictation. I don't know where it is in the ribbon, but if you click in the search bar, as you saw, you can find it.
Might be. I wonder if it's in insert. Let's see. Is it in there? I know there is a place on the ribbon where there's a microphone, and where basically it's you click on the microphone and is that it right there? Wait, there's a read aloud. Oh, that's a read aloud, not a.
Oh, that's cool.
There is a place where there's a microphone, but I also honestly I know I've seen it because I've used it once or twice.
Yeah, it is. I've used it before too, especially like back when I was in school, when I would get really tired of typing, I would just talk, which
It
is
isn't
really
in
nice.
home, is it?
I don't
All the
think
way,
it,
maybe
oh, yes, it is.
all the way on the
It's in
right.
home. So on the home ribbon,
Yeah.
all the way to the right, or mostly to the right, and then you just click it, and it should be listening. Yes, so it does take a couple seconds to turn on, but yeah, it works well.
I'm glad we were able to find that because
Yeah.
and it's right there in the first thing. So we've seen it before, but we weren't sure where we saw it, and now we know. Now we all know.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one that you can show that on the ribbon. Can you show how to pull up the rulers?
Yes. So on the ribbon, you go all the way to the view tab, and then the ruler is kind of in the middle. It's kind of to the left of the middle, and it's ruler, grid lines, and navigation pane. So I like the ruler. So I unclicked, and that got rid of the ruler. And now I just check the box and it's there. You can also add in grid lines, which those throw me off. I think they're really hard to look at. So I don't like to use those. And then the navigation pane, which I know a lot of people like. Then you can see the headings, pages, results. And results would be text, comments, pictures. So if someone's editing, that is where that would show up. But personally, I just really like the ruler. So it's on the view tab, kind of in the center to the left.
The grid lines are useful for when you're laying out an entire page. Like if you're laying out images and stuff like that, then the grid lines are
Yes.
essential. If you're just
Yes.
typing, oh, they're in the way.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. The next question. How did the first part of the resume get saved as a template? Actually, the first one, adjusting the
So
screen name is something.
what I meant by that is it's not actually saved yet, but I misspoke. So when I said save it as a template, what I meant is essentially all the parts of the resume look similar to each other, right? You have kind of the chapter heading, what it is, the thing you were doing, and the dates you were doing it. So sometimes it's a little bit easier to write it out and then copy and paste, even though even though this part of the resume is different than this part, it's still easier to just copy and paste the whole thing. So I didn't save it as a template, but I misspoke. What I did was I kind of, in my mind, created a template because I was able to copy and paste portions of it into other places.
Next question. I think this is going back to the columns. How do you draw a vertical line down the middle of a page?
Uh, I don't know how to do that. I would imagine that in design or layout, actually in draw. So if you want to draw a line down the page,
I would insert shape.
yeah, oh, thank you. That's what I was looking
That
for.
makes it a
So
little easier.
yes, so you can do
Mhm.
shapes, and then I would just do a line. Wherever the plus is where the line will be. So you can just drag and just try to keep it straight as much as possible.
Grid lines.
Oh yeah, that would be a use for the grid lines. And then you can change the color of the line as well, as you can see right here.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
could make it purple, make it green, and you can actually hover and it'll show you what it would look like as different colors, which is nice. Um, so that's how you would do that. If you want, if you're looking at like, oh, if you were asking about in the resume, oh, how I like how there's kind of a line in the middle here.
N-
What I did was I just used the tab key. So I wrote
No,
here.
I think it's more like um, so there's this option and then there's also the columns option.
Mhm.
So if you create columns, so for instance, if you wanted to have a couple of different things in a column, there's an option for when you insert columns, it'll give you an option to put a line in the middle of the columns.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if you go to, if you want to just do just a new document,
Okay.
let's see, we'll just do something really like, so if you put
Uh,
like, I don't know, A and the letters A and B are the words apple and berries.
okay.
And then we're just going to create two different columns. So go ahead and select apples and berries. I'm going to highlight that. And then where is the columns button? I think it's an insert. Or no, it's an in layout.
Okay.
Yep. And then go to
Oh,
columns
I
or page.
see.
Yeah, right there. And then go to, yeah, two. And so it created the columns. And there should be a way, there should be a place so that there are actually columns. You can see the ruler up on top.
Yeah. Oh,
There are actually, you have to like all go all the way. You have to click it all the way down. You have to like push enter all the way to make a bunch of line
oh,
breaks. So it goes up to the next
I
page again
see.
because it's not that much text. But yeah, see if you go like that, there it goes. There it goes. So there should be an option somewhere up there in the either in the design or the layout to create a line between the columns. I know there used to be,
Okay.
and now I'm showing my what's kind of showing how long I've been using Word because I know there used to be when oh if you yeah put that push that yeah go to more columns and I think right there. So there's a option for line
Oh yeah,
between.
line
That's
between.
the one.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
So there's benefits and negatives to use to both options to use putting the
Mhm.
shape in the middle or doing it this way with the columns. And I think that it's just a matter of control. So with
Mhm.
this one right here, it's there. Like you can't do anything with it. It's going to be there. It's going to look exactly like that. With the shape, you can control exactly where it is and what it looks like, and you just have a lot more yeah, you have a lot more ways to adjust it.
Okay.
So the key for the columns with line in between is you highlight all the text that you want to have within the columns, and then you go to that the layout tab, click on columns, and determine how many columns you want to have. And then if you go all the way down, more columns, then there's that option for
Yeah.
how you want to space your columns, if you want to spacing
Oh yeah.
between them, things like that.
It's really nice.
Yeah, you have some options with columns there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. So we got the vertical line down the middle of the page. That was we took a kind of minor deep dive into
Mhm.
creating a line down the middle of the
Yeah.
page. Let's see. Can you please show again how you type the years at the end of the line? So I think that's in your resume.
Yes. Yeah, let's see where that is. Okay. So let's say, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just write community college. And then to get, so it's kind of frustrating because you kind of think, oh, I could hit space bar and then align right. But what will happen is that the whole line will align right. So I'm going to keep it aligned to the left. I'm going to delete the space bar I hit, and then I'm just going to hit the tab key. So the tab key is on the furthest left side of your keyboard, almost to the top. It says tab on it. And I remember that I clicked it 8 times here, so I'm going to count to 8. That's probably going to get us close to the right spot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that gets us perfectly aligned. Now, if it didn't, what I would do is I would just, so let's say this is the closest I can get to being aligned without going past it. I would just hit the space bar until I'm in line with the other dates. So now it looks like I'm in line. And so now I'll write, oh, I was there in 2016 or 15, doesn't matter. And that's how I get the dates to be in line. Unfortunately, you can't use the right align, which would be nice. But the tab key works just fine.
We have a relevant question here. Why did you bring the ruler up, but then use 8 default tabs to get where you want it to be? So there's a variety of options to get text laid out in Word, and tabs is
Okay.
just one of the options. And so because this is a beginner class, we're not going through every possible way to get text over to the right or anywhere else. But tabs is a good option because it gives you a lot of control over where
Mm.
you put it. Whereas some of the alignment and using the ruler, it gets a little bit tricky with the various little arrows on there. And so we're trying to keep it more or less simple for the beginner class. But
Mm.
I'm glad that there's some folks in here who are more advanced, and I definitely appreciate it. Folks have been putting suggestions in the chat.
Mm.
So let's see, when you create, this is back to the columns. We could do a whole class on columns. When you create columns, is that throughout the whole document, or can it be just one section of the document?
Uh, I would imagine it's just one section of the document. I don't know.
It can be both. So it can
Okay.
be, so if you have a whole bunch of like a whole bunch of text, you can select a piece of the document to only have a columns within that area of the document. And then at the next part of the document, it just regularly aligned one column. So yeah, it can be both. Thankfully, yeah, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to have a long report and have just columns in a single section. You'd have to have a whole report in 2 columns or 3 columns.
Yeah, it'd be a little annoying.
Well, this is a very important question. How
Yeah.
do you copy and
Oh,
paste? Please speak
oh,
slowly.
yes.
It's a very important reminder because this is a beginner course.
Yes. So how you can copy and paste. Here, I'll use the letter. I think it'll be a little easier to see. So I'm gonna just go ahead. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna click and hold the left button on my mouse, and I'm going to use the cursor to slide. So I'm using the mouse and sliding it gently, not sliding it across my mouse pad, but just moving it so that my name is highlighted. And what I will do is I can right click. So when I'm over the highlighted bit, I'm going to right click on my mouse and then I'm going to click copy. So now I'm going to hit the enter key so I can paste it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click where the cursor is or where I want the cursor to be. And then here are the paste options. This option is the one you'll use the most. It's keep source formatting. So if I were copying the whole letter, this is the keep source formatting is how I would make the letter look the same wherever I paste it. If I use any one of these other options, it could change the way it looks. The picture option is if you want to copy and paste a picture. So I say all that. So the first paste option is the one that you're going to go with. That's why it's first. Makes life easy. Now I could also, again, click the left side of my mouse and drag the cursor over to highlight. And then on my keyboard, I can go to the bottom left key that says CTRL. I believe on the Mac key, it's the Apple key. And I'm going to press and hold that down. And then while I press and hold that down, I'm going to click the C on my keyboard. And I'm just going to click it and then lift up. That is also how you can copy. And then I went ahead and hit enter. And now we're going to hold that control key, CTRL, the bottom left key of your keyboard, click and hold. And now I'm going to click the V button, V as in Virginia. And so now I'm going to click that. And now it's copy and pasted. So you can do it both ways.
V as in victory.
As in victory, yeah.
Can you show highline in colors? I'm not too sure. I'm actually not totally sure what this question is.
I think is it if it's my highlight, this is just it's
Oh,
just gray on my computer.
mhm.
You can I think you can highlight, yeah. So
Oh, can you change the color of the
color,
highlight line?
yeah. So and that will
Ooh,
keep it.
oh, it'll stay there.
Yeah,
Look
it'll
like
stay
you're
there.
just drawing on the page.
Hmm.
That's fancy.
Yeah.
I've never used that before. I usually just if I'm just trying to highlight a single line, I just do it on the in the home thing. But
Hmm.
that's fancy. You can sometimes that's useful. You can if you're correcting documents or you want to make your document fancy, you can highlight.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's see
which is cool.
how
That
to
would be
create.
really useful in the meeting agenda, potentially, if there's something really important you don't want people to miss.
All right. How do you import a picture? You might say, do you have Word app and Word Online have the same features, or does the Word app have more?
The Word app does have more features. The Word Online does work really well. If you want to learn how to insert a picture, we'll actually do that in the intermediate class.
Somebody asked in the Q&A standard margins for college paper and line spacing. And I'm gonna guess, and you let me know if I'm correct, because I think this is what it was when I was in school. 1 inch all around and double spacing.
So when I was in school, it was whatever the teacher wanted. All of my
That's
teachers
a
wanted
better
different
answer.
things.
That's a
I
better
do
answer
I do
for
want to
sure.
flag real fast. If you use the drawing tools, to get out of it, you have to click that mouse button again. But yeah, I think the 1 inch margin and double space is solid. Solid
That's the
assumption if your teacher
usual. It's
doesn't
it's sort of
know.
like using, Times New Roman or
Hmm.
Calibri or Arial as the fonts. Those are just like standard fonts that most teachers will be okay with. But yeah, I think your answer is better. Ask the teacher.
Yeah.
Everybody has preferences. How can you create a tab?
Um, okay, so to move a tab, it's just a button. So it's a preset amount of space. And so on your keyboard, um, on the left side, the furthest left side of your keyboard, it's the third one down. So if you go to the top button, it says escape, it's ESC. Um, sorry, I bumped a button. That ESC, we're gonna go down one, and then if you go down one, it's like a little like punctuation button. We're gonna go down one under that, and then that's the tab button. And on my keyboard, there's even little arrows with a line. And so when you click that tab button, it automatically creates the distance that is preset, and that distance is preset by the word processor. Again,
I
it's
think
something that they
tab is
did to make
like
our life easy.
11 or 12 spaces or something like
Yeah.
that. Can you save the green line you just drew? Like, I think it's the highlighted line. Does that save in the
I
document?
think so, yeah. I undid it,
Okay.
but yeah, here.
Whoa,
Yep.
it's a lovely
Yeah,
color.
so let's see. I'm gonna click print. Yeah, so it will print. That is one thing though, if you have a black and white printer, this block will be kind of difficult to see. So just be sure to print in color if you are doing a highlighter.
Did we already answer the question about whether the features in the Word app and the Word Online?
I did quickly. I can
Yeah,
answer again. So the app itself, so what I'm using, the desktop version, does have a little bit more to it than the online version. I believe all the things we've shown today you can do in both.
yeah.
The online version is really great, but there are just a couple things that I think they need a little bit more access to power, which like the power that comes from your computer to be able to do. Something in the intermediate class is something that you can only do on the app version, but everything we showed today, you can do online.
And then is the online, I think this will be our last question because we're just at about time. Is the online version free versus the app?
I Oh, like you might know better than me. I don't think
Yeah.
it is.
You may get a free trial, but
Mm,
I don't believe it's like Google Drive. Google Docs, you have a Google account and everything is free. But with Microsoft, I'm not totally sure. You'd have to check the Microsoft website for what their current pricing situation is. They may have a free tier, but I do not know for sure, and I don't want to provide the wrong information here.
yes,
All right.
ditto.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to check. If you Google Microsoft Office, then it'll bring you right to the website, and they should have the pricing information and how to obtain it and everything right
Mhm.
there. All right. Well, Savannah, thank you very much for your class today. Again, we'll send folks the recording and the YouTube link to the recording very soon. And thank you all for being here. I'm going to post a link to the post-event survey. If you have a few minutes, please fill that out. Help us out, figure out what we did well, what to do better, what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. And most importantly, what you learned today, which I hope is a lot and has been practical and useful. And with that, stay dry, stay warm, and we'll see you next time.